What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to the video. I hope everyone had an amazing day. And I'm back with another video from Most Amazing Top 10. First and foremost, if you're new, welcome. My name is Shy. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. And this is Top 10 Scary True Stories of for raw people. I don't know what that is, so let's watch and see.
Imagine living your life in the jungle, being raised by a pack of animals. No, this isn't the Jungle Book. This has happened in real life. From a woman who spent 30 years living in the jungle alone, to a boy that was raised by a pack of wolves. Let's talk about these stories and more only in today's video. Top 10 Scary True Stories of Feral People. Starting off this countdown, we have Oxana Malaya. In 1991, a Ukrainian girl named Oxana Malaya was found living with dogs in a kennel. Story goes that when she was younger, she was abandoned and left to fend for herself. She ended up getting into a farm kennel and lived there with dogs for 6 years. The dogs literally raised her as their own. When people found her, she ran on all fours, panted with her tongue out, and barked. The only words she knew were yes and no. Now, according to this article, if children don't learn how to speak by the age of 5, then apparently it's nearly impossible for them to grasp it when they're older. As a result, Oxana speaks with no emotion. Her tone is flat, with no rhythm. On top of that, she had to go to school to teach her how to walk upright and eat like a human. Now she is in her 30s and she lives in a clinic working with farm animals. In our ninth spot, we have Shandio. But before I go any further, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up because it really helps us out. In 1972, a boy named Shandio was found in a forest in India. He was playing with wolf cubs. In fact, he formed a bond with these wolves and they raised him. What's freaky is that he had sharpened teeth, long hooked fingernails, matted hair, and thick calluses all over his body. He literally had wolf-like characteristics. He survived off of eating raw chicken and plants. What's also crazy is that he had a craving for blood, just like wolves. When he was rescued, he never learned how to speak, but he did learn some sign language. I just had to throw that in there. Okay. In 1985, he passed away. Moving on at number 8, we have the girl and her wolves. Here's another case of someone being raised by wolves. In 1845 in Mexico, a girl was seen running on all fours with a pack of wolves. She then attacked a herd of goats with the wolf pack. A year later, she was spotted again with the same pack of wolves. This time, people saw her actually eating a goat with the wolves. In the end, she was captured but escaped and went back to her wolf family. In 1852, she was spotted again but ran off before anyone could get to her. After that, she was never seen again. We don't know what happened to her. Maybe she's still out there somewhere with her wolf family. Coming in at number 7, we have Marina Chapman. In 1954, Marina Chapman was kidnapped from a South American village. Her kidnappers left her in a jungle. From there, she survived for 5 years, living off of berries, roots, and bananas. In fact, she was close pals with a family of small monkeys, like the one that Ross had in Friends. That's the, I was gonna say genre. That's not, that's their breed. What are they called? I guess breed. Breed? She slept in holes in the trees and walked on all fours. In fact, one time she got bad food poisoning and an elder monkey took care of her. The monkey led her to a pool of water and forced her to drink until she threw up and felt better. The monkeys also taught her how to climb trees and how to find what trees were safe to climb. And also taught her how to find food that was safe to eat. That is insane. Now, I want a group of cool monkey friends like that. Eventually, Marina was rescued by hunters, but they were bad men and tried to sell her. Eventually, though, she was adopted into a trustworthy family. The family moved to Bradford, Yorkshire in the UK in 1977, and she still lives there today. In fact, she's now married with children. That'd be sad, though. I would want to stay with the monkeys. Are you kidding? Moving on to number 6.
Yeah, Batman, sale. I'm not for sale. I'm not doing any of that. Of what I'm not gonna do. They found you, try to sell you. I'm not a circus freak. Which one to do? No.
We have Kamala and Amala. In October of 1920, 2 sisters were found in a wolf's den in India. But when they were found, they didn't look human at all.
And I have to say, it was smart The monkey's like, drink all this water until you throw up. Throw all that bad shit out and you'll feel better.
They had body deformities and had characteristics of wolves. The tendons and joints in their arms and legs were shortened. They walked on all fours, had prominent jaws, and even could see in the dark, like wolves. They also growled, howled, slept curled up together like wolves, and ate strictly raw meat. They even had an amazing sense of sight, smell, and hearing. Not only that, but they showed no human emotion whatsoever. The only emotion they could express was fear. When people tried to give them cooked food, they rejected it. They only wanted raw meat. On top of that, they refused to be dressed and scratched and bit people that tried to get close to them. We are now at our 5th and halfway mark with John of Liege. John of Liege is the name given to a boy that spent most of his youth living in the Belgian wilderness. Back in 1644, John fled to the woods to escape an army of soldiers. When it was safe to return home, John refused. He was way too shaken up and preferred hiding out in the wilderness. And that's where he lived for 16 years. He survived off of roots and wild berries. When he was 21 years old, he made his way back into town, but was caught trying to steal food from a farm. People described him as a naked man covered in hair. At that point, he had forgotten language too, so he just seemed like a madman. Craziest thing of all is that he managed to develop a strong sense of smell, as strong as a dog. He could sniff out food from miles away. In our 4th spot, we have Dina Sanitchar. Dina Sanitchar is also referred to as Wolf Boy, because he was found living in a cave with a pack of wolves. So basically, back in 1864, a group of hunters decided to smoke out a cave to chase these wolves away. It came as a huge surprise when a freaking human came out of the cave as well. Dina lived in the wilderness for most of his life. In fact, it said that his story was the inspiration for Mowgli in the Jungle Book. Eventually, Dina was taken to an orphanage where they gave him his name. Although they tried to teach him how to act like a human, it was near impossible. He liked to gnaw on bones and eat raw meat instead of cooked meat. In 1895, though, he sadly passed away. Moving on to number 3, we have the Bird Boy. In 2008, a boy named Prava was found living in a tiny room surrounded by dozens of birds. Apparently, his mother suffered from bad mental illness and treated her son like one of her birds. For years, he was living in that bird room. In fact, he never learned to speak, only chirp. And when he was frazzled or trying to express emotion, he would wave his arms and hands like birds do with their wings. The last article ever written about him says that doctors are still trying to rehabilitate him, and his mother is in a psychological care facility. In our 2nd spot, we have Leopard Boy. In 1912, an unnamed boy was taken from his family by a leopard near the Himalayan mountains. 3 years later, he was found by a hunter. The leopard didn't harm him. In fact, he was living with the leopard and her children. She was treating him like one of her children. When he was found, he had several characteristics of a leopard. He could run on all fours as fast as an adult man could run on 2 feet. He had pads on his feet and hands from thick calluses, and his toes were at an upright angle. When humans tried to rescue him, he would bite them. He also did not speak, he only could grunt and growl. He was eventually rescued though, and eventually learned how to speak and walk properly. And in our number 1 spot, we have Engie Chay. A woman named Engie Chay survived over 30 years in a jungle by herself. She lived there ever since she was a child, right up to adulthood. So basically, she went missing in the jungle when she was young. She then lived off of fruit and insects. She would also watch other animals hunt and then eat their leftovers. She also could climb trees and navigate through the jungle with ease. In fact, locals believe the jungle was haunted by a ghost of a woman. That woman was no ghost, but just Engie. Engie was eventually found when she was in her late 30s. She was taken back to town and cleaned up. Shortly after her rescue, a man came forward claiming that that was his daughter. They both got DNA tests and he was right. She then lived with her birth parents, while of course still having some pretty wild mannerisms. Alright guys, that's all for today's video. Let's move quickly along to our comment shout-out.
I can't imagine. How does it happen? Like, say if I was a baby and some wolf found me, like, in the back of my mind right now, I'm like, would they eat me? Like, what would they do? Like, they would just probably, I don't know. It's very interesting, the story. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. From the wolves, from the leopards, from the monkeys. I wouldn't mind living in the jungle. Have my own little spot in the jungle. Like more of a getaway house in the jungle. Tell me what you think about this video. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And have the most awesome positive day. Till next one, you guys.